Well, it's the anniversary of my wife's 29th birthday, and she wanted to go to San Antonio. So we jumped on an airplane, headed down there, but we only had one day. So we had to make the most of it. In this video, I'm going to show you what we did for our one day and how I think we got the best flavor of San Antonio that you can get. So here we go. San Antonio is world famous for the Alamo, so that's where we're going to start. Then we're going to head down Houston Street, which I think has much more interesting shops along it than the Riverwalk. And we're going to head on down and work our way over towards the Briscoe Western Art Museum, which I think is one of the finest Western art museums in the United States. It's right down there. Also talk about some food places, and then we'll continue our way up the Riverwalk. Now, after we've had some dinner, we're going to head back to the Riverwalk and make sure that we see that at night, because that is really special when it's lit up. And we're going to make sure that we head back to the Alamo and see that at night as well. So let's get started. The battle for the Alamo was fought over 13 days in 1836. Primarily what's left now is the church. And the facade is a fascinating piece to look at. There are still some bullet holes and other remnants of the battle that you can be seen there. When you enter the church, you can walk down along it and see some of the original stonework as well as some of the restoration, and you'll see signs discussing the restoration and the history of the church itself. It's a beautiful old church to walk into. And you can see the strength and the power of the rock walls there. Now, when you first come in, there's a room on the left, back there on the right at this angle. That's the sacristy right here. This is where the women and children of the defenders held out for as long as they could in this room right here. Now, what they've recently found was some of the original fresco work that was on the walls, and they put together a fascinating display there. And this is actually in another room where they have it recreated on screen as though it would have appeared when it was first built, and then a little depiction of what it must have been like for the women and children hiding in there with the battle going on and the frescoes slowly cracking as the walls shook. Once you head outside, you can get the other side of the Alamo from the back end. There are some beautiful grounds there with some statues. But if you really want to get a sense of the Alamo, go ahead and pay the extra money and then go into the museum in the back. The Alamo itself is free. The museum, I think, is about $14, and you will see many relics from the battle itself. One of the most fascinating things that I discovered was several families have donated their belongings here, as well as one very famous musician. British musician Phil Collins is a huge Alamo buff, and he has created a world-class collection of artifacts related to the Alamo, and he has graciously given them to the Alamo for display. The most impressive thing I saw was this from his collection, which is a scale replica of the Alamo and the mission as it was at the time of the battle. On the left-hand side back there was the church. You don't get a sense of this when you look at the Alamo today because it's overgrown by the city. But this model was my first real sense of what was the actual size of the battle space. Here we're looking at the north wall where the Mexicans, I believe, had their first break through the walls. The church itself, bottom right, and Phil Collins narrates the battle that you can see on his display. By the time you're done there, it's time to head down Houston Street and get some lunch. If you want some good, inexpensive Tex-Mex food, I recommend Poblano's. After that, head on down, and next item I recommend stopping at is Burkhorn's. They've got two museums in there, the Burkhorn Museum and the Texas Ranger Museum. Even if you don't go in the museums, go ahead and stop in and just take a look at the lobby. Fascinating place, and well worth a stop. Just a bit further along the street is my favorite shop, Trezor. Hey, you get me anything with rocks, minerals, and dinosaur artifacts, I'm going to be there. And this is my kind of shop. Again, something great. The staff is wonderful, very knowledgeable, can answer all your questions, and you can just enjoy the beautiful items there. I know I sure do. Okay, time to get moving on. The next stop I always make is the Foreign Affairs World Imports, mostly because I'm fascinated by wood carvings. And they have wood carvings mostly from Asia, I believe some from Africa. But I just admire anybody who can do work like this. Again, worth a stop. I have no idea how they carved this one. Our next stop along the day was a unique monument. They call it the Founders Monument, commemorating the 1731 arrival of the Canary Islanders, which formed the town. This is out in front of the Bear Courthouse. I can't imagine but think what this particular fellow was thinking as he looked at the new immigrants and wondered how that was going to change his life. All right, so now we're going to head down to the Riverwalk, and this is what makes San Antonio so unique. Miles and miles of walk along the river, beautiful scenery, and lots of restaurants and unique places to sit and enjoy. Absolutely beautiful. But we're going to come back later in the evening, and it will look totally different, and I think you will enjoy it. But for now, we're going to stop at the Briscoe Art Museum. As I mentioned, this is what I think one of the best Western art museums in the country. You walk in, it's the old library with the original ceiling there. Go upstairs. If you look down, you'll notice that is a buffalo hide stair tread. Get to the top floor, start there, work your way down, and you start with a fascinating exhibit of taxidermy of some of the local wildlife you're going to find in Texas. And then you move on from there. Just enjoy the museum for both its artwork as well as historical items that it has of the American West and Texas in particular. Blackfoot war shirt from the Northern Plains. And then their Sitting Bull in the middle. Just a beautiful statue. Here's a chuck wagon from the classic Western cowboy days, Roundup. Weapons of the period. And another model of the Alamo, which you can see here too, this one with figurines. If you really want to get a sense of the battle space, you got to see it here or over at the Alamo collection there from Phil Collins. But that'll give you a true sense of what it was fought over as opposed to just seeing the church itself. Some artifacts from the Mexican army at the time, and then traditional art museum paintings, statues, and other events. Beautiful work here. This is one of the more unique pieces, the buffalo head nickel. Only this guy has the buffalo coming out as well as the Indian head on the other side. Just creative genius thinking of that and then executing it. There is a Welch Fargo stagecoach from the heyday. And once you're done with the museum, you can cross the river and go to La Villita. Lots of shops and a few restaurants in there. They will have a French, a German, Tex-Mex restaurant, and those kind of represent the immigrant communities that came in after the battle. We decided to have a meal at Guadalajara. Fascinating little Tex-Mex restaurant there with a great friendly staff. Started out with some marlin tacos. My wife had the salad, which includes cut up prickly pear cactus pads, and I had tortilla soup. Unique presentation there. Hey, if you don't want to eat there, you want something a little more upscale, you can go about 1.5 miles north of the Riverwalk and into the Pearl area. It is a refurbished brewery that has now become home to some world-class restaurants. And here is Botica. a fusion of South American and Southeast Asian cuisine, as can be seen by the pot stickers, empanadas, grilled octopus, and lomo saltado. But as I mentioned before, this is the anniversary of my wife's 29th birthday, so we're going to head back down to the boardwalk and sing her happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
So now we're going to come out and we're going to see the Riverwalk at night. It is truly fascinating, and those fish I thought were stunning. They were on the North Spur as you headed up towards Pearl. Now we'll head back down and go to the Riverwalk in the city center. Fortunately, the rain had stopped, so the activities took place. Gorgeous area, totally different at night. And being the holidays, you get some special entertainment along the way. Well worth a visit, well worth stopping by, but you do have to make sure that you see the Riverwalk both during the day and at night. We saw this earlier where I had a little map shown, and this is that same view from night. But the lights don't stop there. Head on out. You don't see that everywhere. But then make sure you end your day by heading back to the Alamo and see the Alamo lit up at night. Just a beautiful area. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our one-day trip and got something out of it. If you have a chance to go there, good luck, have fun, and enjoy. As always, I am enjoying retirement.